So greetings to you all, fellow citizens of Zambia. Today was one of those days when I thought I could just stay the day off, social media and just be able to, summon my, spirits, be able to reflect on a number of issues. But looking at what is going on in social media, I'm prompted to come back. And also, I'm one of those who believe that when you create a void, enemies of doom are capable of filling that space with lies and propaganda. So this morning, I just thought I could speak to the issue of the militia. Now, I know that we, the Zambian people, have for a very long time fallen to cheap lies, propaganda. The UPND, as an example, have thrived at nothing but lies and propaganda. And it looks like they don't seem to learn that we've slowly been discovering them. They stand for nothing but lies and propaganda. So UPND, through their president, President Church, have cooked up a story of militia. Now, I want you to pay attention very well. So they've now labeled, remember, they managed to kill PF through Ubufi. Your PF is corrupt, PF is, Gaddarism, PF is violent, PF, they smeared PF with all evil things to a point that all of you hated PF, okay? Now, interestingly, the very PF that they smeared, the very PF that they never wanted anything to do with them, that the very PF they vowed would never be allowed to come back to run the affairs of this country, they went into bed, into a marriage of convenience with Chavinga and Mao Sampa, who are literally the ones who now are holding on to PF. Your PF is evil, PF is a demon, but they went and embraced the very people that are holding PF. To a point where they now went and picked a good number of former PF MPs and adopted them. You can count Vasande, Vachavinga, Vakampamba, Vakatambo, Bamushanga, a lot. From the very family they said was evil. But when they realized that issue of PF Tailebomba, after Tonse came together and picked the NRPUP, and you saw what happened, and I want to thank you, the people of Zambia, for having responded positively. By now, we all know that Brad Mundwe won the election, right? This is not an argument. Otherwise, takwaba election yako at 1-4, you could have foresha fyama constituents. Na baba bokosi, baba foresha bumea wa mulusaka. Kwen, Muzambia. Ukula foresha fya. Kampamba isa, Chipoka isa twakupela Pizosta o Crisosta twakupela ngani mukabo kupela ma constituents yonse na bumea ukupoka abasalirwe ku bantu baisa mulusaka Thomasisa twakupela bapoka ku matero ulio wabo alo na concede defeat ulio wa usho wa Alexander bapoko mwine saluhusu bapela no waboko senalo sana concede na pa social media awe kibombo twakupoka ukula pela. So we agree that this was not an election. This was an appointment. They were basically appointing people. No mayor, we have appointed. No MP, we have appointed you. Now, the point I'm trying to make is that when they managed to destroy PF, they still went into a marriage with the same evil PF. Today, they've now come up with a campaign, a cheap propaganda to label the NRPUP as a gang of militia. Militia, to a point where they are now arresting everyone who was part of the Brand Mundubile NRPUP campaign team and charging them with what? Treason. The idea of treason is that whether nabakwata omulandu or not, for as long as you give them treason, it's a non-bailable offense. They will be in prison for a very long time, so that interestingly, the same gang of militia abo bayabula president wa NRPUP Ezra bamuhula. As we speak, Ezra ali ku community house. At least reliable information has told me that Ezra nababasenda. Okay, as we speak, they are now praising Zumani because Zumani alando kutila. No, let's just reconcile. Bambo kuchita isolate the very militia, family of militias. Imagine, they are bale ikata bonse ababombera ba Brian Mundubire abali mu NRPUP bale ikata apa bali ikata Lucas Mumba, the newly elected MP for Nakonde, bali pepeka ba Kampyongo, bali pepeka Kapyanga, bali ikata ba Chisopa, bali ikata ba Chisanga, bali ikata ba Bishop Mwamba, bali name them. They are arresting everyone and anything associated with the NRPUP. Interestingly, they have now gotten President wa NRPU bamubika mpoketapa. Meanwhile, the president, when he spoke the other day, community house, even vowed that if finish my political party, we are going to deregister it. So you can clearly see, Mwebana Zambia, I know that sometimes we are easily carried away. We are gullible. We easily believe because Nabalanda, Vampia, to alasumine for fine. But I think this time has come because you see, like I always keep saying, to be lied to once is okay. But to be lied to twice, to be taken for lies, to be moved by propaganda twice, then the problem is not HH and by UPND. The problem ni mwe. And this story of militia, look at these pieces. No, we started investigating where militia in 2023. Who was there in 2023? Did you know about Brian Mundubile in 2023 and him standing? Did Makebi express any intention in 2023? No. The project ya NRPUP, ya ba Mundubile na Brian Mundubile, is very recent. But they started in 2023 investigating the so-called militia. When they raided President Mundubire's house, they claimed, no, there were militias in the house who started firing. Interestingly, in the firing, commandos versus 5, 6, 7 militias. They managed to go in, disarmed the militia who had mass weapons, as they are now claiming, which weapons they've never shown at any time to the public. They only went to bedroom via la savaka for a veka. The rest of the militia who were firing at them, who are these militias they are talking about? They are talking about Chisanga, Council Chisanga, Bishop Mwamba, Patrick Mwansa, the husband to Tasila, of course, there were Banda, who was a former cop, who were the ADC of President Mundubile, and 3 gentlemen, Matioka Jackson. Matioka Jackson is that commando wali Renso Kanabalungu. That guy, after he was relieved out of the service, has been providing security, including Keith Mwembo Wakfa's president. You will see pictures of him having been providing security. So he's a free agent. You can hire him at any time. But because he has a link to the military, but they will now justify, no, because of those 3, they are militias. Because this one was an ex-cop, is a militia. Meanwhile, the rest of them are respected members of this community who have served as ministers, like Bishop Mwamba, president of a political party. These are the people they are referring to as the militia. The other militias they are talking about, Nyava, Ikatabena Chester, IDC, Felix, Abena Mwamba, Eva militia. The other militia, Abena Binwell, bonse bali abena chabota bali ebo badera that eba militia. And you, with your very normal mind, you would believe such a cheap story. Mule shoko yambe story And no, it started with those young men we sent to train as VVIP handlers. They came back from where they went. There were just 3. They went for a special training for just 3 weeks. I don't know how in 3 weeks you can train a militia. In 3 weeks. You can train a militia. 3 weeks. These guys went and came back through the international airport, KK. Ero bapanga story after baikatabalia at no, we found them with high-grade weapons. You all know that Papa Airport, tetuye na high-grade weapons mufiola. Which airline would admit a bag with high-grade weapons? So they keep talking about these high-grade weapons. They've even named that weapon in Syria. No, they have got these weapons. Interestingly, every time they speak about these weapons, when they arrested those gentlemen at the airport, they never displayed them. When they raided President Mundubire's, house, they never, displayed those weapons. But they keep talking about why? Because they keep on chanting the same lie. Because every day mulenda pabufi. It's chikasangu kwa bufi for as long as people are not answering back. That is why today I'm prompted to speak to this issue so that michingule kwa wait a minute. Fafine ba mibe pere pari ba PF ukubifia PF chine mwai pata. Yet PF was even doing better than they've performed in the last 5 years. It's the same way they're driving you now, trying to smear Brian Mundubire and Makebi to be militias. Guess what? This story of the militia is not for you, the Zambian people. They are trying to pit Mundubire and Makebi to the international community. The international community, the West hates issues of militia. They've been trying to create this story so that the West can think that BM is a bad element. Makebi is a bad element. They are part of a militia. But guess what? Abasungute fipuba. Even in this country, the Americans are here. They are able to put stories together. Meanwhile, even when Brian was being nominated na Makebi, they were cleared by the police. And when the police is clearing you as a candidate to stand as a president, kukupitamu monse. But if the UPND have been investigating Brian Mundubire na Makebi since 2023, how did the police clear them? Because obviously we must say, Ewe neba Milisha, neba Brian, neba Makebi. Obviously we must say Zumani, Ezra must also be part of the sponsors of militia. After all, Ezra, party, political party, NRPUP. Interestingly, even when they raided President Mundubire's house, the Kudu house, they arrested Bonsiaba, but bosi waba militia, bamusenda akabiye iwe. Who does that? You find a house where militias are. They are even firing at the army. Mwaikata bonsiaba bali 8, 9. But bosi waba militia mwamusenda fe mwamuwekisha tawe yokabiye na family yove. That is the cheap story they are trying to tell you. And interestingly, you are all paying attention. Nokula basunisha te ba Mundubire ni ba militia. Iyi ni project ya NRPU. Iya mbele fele lorine. 4 months ago is when this project started. But they started investigating it when? 2023. But today, Nabakosha militia will not allow people to take the country through militia, through violence. Meanwhile, the violent ones are the same ones by UPND. How many people have been killed by UPND since the campaign started? In the actual campaign, are you not aware of how many people were killed by UPND cadres? Are you not aware of the violence they orchestrated by UPND? Are you not aware that they are still killing as we speak, as they killed Honorable Kafoya in cold blood? They are the very people who would say, no, and that we are ready to kill. And that we are ready to kill. Meanwhile, the very people that condemned that very simple statement, which statement na mobene you bonse mwaima yo bini na landa bini crucify him, but bini just put a simple context, a patriot statement which simply says, I'm ready to die for my country, I'm ready to kill for my country. This is a patriot statement, no matter how you look at it. And I want to remind you, you were just carried away in the hype of things. Oh, say Zambia, you have made that statement before. You have made a statement suggesting over my children I can kill. Over my property I can kill. Over my country I can die and I can kill. That is a patriot statement. All of you, mwalirandapo efyo. Iwe tawarandapo ati, inepa abana bandi unaipayirapo omuntu, tawarandapo. Ishireba imwe washakwata abana. Tawarandapo ati ine, over my things I can kill somebody. That is a statement they have sensationalized to a point where the president possibly have not been well. Number been well, aba president. A very simple statement that was just simply gotten out of context. But then abale condemn just that statement. Bale ipaya. Mutoto Kafuaya, a man who has served this country with distinction at a very high level, ukumuipaya like a common criminal. They've killed, I don't know how many people. The one they killed in, Kudaku, Mazabuka, Kumagoye. The 3 people they killed in Kanyama. The one they killed in Kaputa. They've killed so many people during this campaign. The UPND government have killed so many people using the military as they did in Mufumbwe. It was a massacre, and I can tell you one day, those who ordered the killing of our young people in Mufumbwe are going to go to the Hague, to ICC, International Criminal Court. One day, you may think you are powerful today, just like the Auditor General who stayed in office illegally for 5 years. You are all going to pay for the crimes. But this is the story I'm telling. Wait a minute, Mwebena Zambia. Open your eyes and ears. These guys are taking you for a ride. What the UPND have orchestrated is an agenda to eliminate a particular set of people. I will not say a particular tribe. No, because you're going to get me out of context. They have an agenda to eliminate all those who they believe can challenge the president and his presidency. And the only way they can do that is to concoct a cheap propaganda, a cheap lie, suggesting that they are part of a militia. But guess what? Nabambo kusobololamo from the same family of militia, Babula, they are now entertaining Zumani, my elder brother. They are now entertaining Ezra, the president of NRPUP. They are fiafinebach to the PF, vaya lamfia, but vaya into bed with Mausamp and Chavinga, lero vaya kusemu. Bamwene kwa tibaona ora NRPU, but they didn't have a way. It's just to say, niba militia ba. Ero fina fia shishita fi ma praise singer all over. But guess what? When you see all their pages running militia, it's because when you plant a word in one's mind, every day militia, they believe all of you are going to finally believe a church niba militia. Please, you have been lied to. You have been taken for propaganda before. Don't allow. There is no militia in Zambia. It's all a script that they are using to alienate all those that fought against them. It is a script, but poorly done because they are not even coordinating their pieces together. They started in 2023 when Bamundubire and Makebi were not even in the picture. Today they go and raid Bamundubire's house, but the boss waba militia Mundubire, since they're saying it's a gang of militia, then they leave the house. After 1 week, they've taken over the house. Meanwhile, they speak about these high-grade weapons on 2 occasions. Whenever men by them trainer for VIP handling, at you ne fianzo pa airport. Wisa ne fianzo pa airport. It's not possible. But guess what? They failed to display those because they were not there. When they raided, President Mundubire's house, they failed to display those arms because they were not there. But look at how they've gone. They went mocking, yo fiabufi. Meanwhile, the shit hit the fan. They could not sustain the lie. They had to come out in the open and say, Chachine Tuari Paya Mutoto Kafuaya. Zambians, it is a script. It is cheap. It's propaganda. There is no militia anywhere. At least if you have your mind, your brain intact, you are able to see that this is a cheap lie which they are using to justify their wanton arresting and charging our people with treason so that they can dismantle the entire opposition as the president vowed on that day at Community House. God bless you. May God give you a discernment to see that you are being taken for a ride. Thank you, and may God bless our country. Thank you very much.